Am I up or down? Ready to go? All right, Democrats, welcome to our first Friday event. And I want to just start by, if everybody will rise, please, so we can do our pledges. Flag's over here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Stay standing for this, please. Land acknowledgement. We recognize that Sandoval County is located on ancestral land of indigenous people. We acknowledge and honor our land carekeepers and commit to retain and advocate for the traditions of cultural knowledge indigenous people have practiced since time immemorial. Please have a seat. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Like I said, this is our first Friday of April, the 7th. If you're new, please make sure that we recognize you, say hello to us. I'll come over and greet you, but welcome. And that's what we are, very welcoming. We are at the Range Cafe in beautiful downtown Bernalillo, town of Bernalillo. I recommend the Range. This is a place where we meet, so please make sure that you venture out here and order for them, not just for our events, but for your own as well. We are happy and grateful for this meeting place and for the staff that come and serve us every time. Make sure that you show them their appreciation. Thank you very much. Elected officials. Any elected officials here? There you are. Would any of you like to say hello or say something? Yes? Commissioner Jones?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. First and foremost, thank everyone for making it out. I know it is a holiday weekend, so happy to see all the smiling faces here today. There's a few things that I did want to bring up. One, right now, as a new commissioner, it's one of my priorities to get out to all of the communities right now. So we just got back from Cuba. We have the opportunity to meet with some folks from Chile. We had the opportunity to meet for some folks from San Domingo's, Cochiti Lake, Pena Blanca. So we're going to be getting out and speaking with everybody in the community. I'm going to try my best to touch the entire district no later than the end of July. So that's one of my personal priorities that I'm trying to do. Two, I just want to throw it out there, and I've been talking to everybody that I've been coming in contact with. We have to get some qualified candidates to want to run for. No, don't don't hide your face, Greg. You are almost there. So we have some county races that are going to be pivotal for us in the upcoming election. We have it's District 4 and District 2, right? So if you live in those districts, please don't be discouraged about not running, not being knowledgeable enough in everything, right? Because everybody doesn't know everything. And you just have to have a willing heart to be able to, a willing heart to want to serve the community and the people. And then also, I am also gearing up for an election, so I do have to do that one thing that we don't like to do is raise and ask for money. So we're getting the bank account set up. So if you do have it within your heart today to write a check to help me with my campaign, we met today. We're trying to get the website set up. We're doing a lot of the designs. We're looking at the wall cards. So we're gearing up for those things for the 2024 election. So That's really all I wanted to say. Thank you for being here. Greg, thank you for hosting this. And if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to ask of me, please feel free. I'll be over here in the right-hand corner.
Thank you, Josh. And we should support him. Yes, we should. His district is huge, so he'll need all the help he can get walking. So, please. Kathy, you like to be next? Come on up. There you go, Kathy.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm on a tight timeline today between some company coming through from the UK and my crazy dog and life. And so I guess I'm standing here to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you do for me and for Democrats up and down the ballot. You wouldn't be here if you weren't one of those people who commits and cares about what happens in our communities. I know in year 5 that I've been somewhat of a target. And so I would anticipate that some of that will be somewhat redirected towards Josh. And so again, I would say help Commissioner Jones any way that you can. And for those of you who have been part of the letter writing campaigns and who are willing to have a voice in our community, please don't stop. As you know, in Rio Rancho this past week in the Observer, we are being quoted verbatim, and that means that one of our colleagues is being quoted about issues that remain outside of county business. And the more he does that, the more disruptive it is to us being able to get the work done that we need to get done. And when he uses profanity on our dais, I would love for the chairman to hear that you find these things inappropriate. I know there was a letter to the editor about this in the comment a couple of weeks back, but let's not let up, because this is where we go bad. And if you spent 10 hours or more like I did watching the chaos in Tennessee, I was born in Shelby County. I know that those people care that were booted. They care about their constituents and they want to do what's right. So please, recognize that this could be coming to your neighborhood. Well, guess what? It already is in your neighborhood. So let's not let them think that we are snowflakes. Let's not let them name us. Let's name ourselves and make sure that we tell them we have the courage, the tenacity, and the desire to make a difference, and not let them bully us, which is what's going on so many levels. So thank you for letting me vent. Yesterday was a tough day, and tomorrow might be tougher. So we, the electeds, need your support and help. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate that. Well, would you like to come up and say something?
You said for elected officials, so I don't have to.
No, that's all right. I mean, we're going to hear from you tomorrow, so it's okay. But come on up. Come up. Say something.
Hi, thank you. I'm Kathleen Cates. I'm your state House representative for District 44. I want to let you know that tomorrow at Matucci's is the second Saturday. This is one of the few events. Our first Friday and second Saturday are back-to-back. Senator McKenna and I will be there. Please come at 11 o'clock. It's on Unser. We finished our legislative session on March 18th. Since then, I have done town halls and post-legislative updates. I did one here in Rio Rancho on Tuesday, one in Albuquerque on Wednesday. I did a radio interview at KRSDQ on Sunday. I did Drinking Liberally in Albuquerque the week before. So I'm getting legislative updates. I'm here to listen to Gino today. But I want to let you guys know there's plenty of opportunities and there's lots to talk about. So I hope to see you there tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Anybody else? Is that it? Okay, as I look around. It's a very intimate group today, but that's okay. That brings us to our guest speaker of the day. His name is Gino. Oh, I'm going to butcher it. Satria. Okay. Satriana. Okay. Well, I would have got that way off. Anyway, Gino. He is currently representative of the AFT National, and he is the AFT New Mexico Treasurer. He's also the Vice President of the Rio Rancho Employees Union. We were going to have the president, Billie Helean, here to talk, but she unfortunately has been called away. She is in Seattle having some issues. So with that, Gino stepped up to the plate and said, sure, I'll come and speak to you guys. So today, Gino, here you go. Thank you.
Thanks. So I'm not going to stand on the stage here because I got some talking points here that I want to make sure I can read off of the table here. So thank you guys for having me here. It's a great pleasure. I am a native New Mexican. I actually grew up down in Corrales. Went to Cibola High School, went to Sandoval Elementary, which is now Corrales Elementary. So I've been a Sandoval County product for a long time. So I do appreciate you guys stepping up to the plate and doing this. I want to thank the commissioners for being here. The union always supports the commissioners. Representative, she was awesome this year in her the legislative session. She backed a lot of the things that we did, so I want to thank her as well. So a couple of things that I want to talk a little bit to you about with education. By the way, I'm a man of many hats here recently. When I first got into this about 12 years ago, I worked for the city of Rio Rancho, was with AFSCME, went to the management side, and then I went to the school district for 7. And then I retired PERA and ERB. And when I got into the schools, I started doing a little bit more activist union work and things like that. I was one of the 8 founders of AFSCME in Rio Rancho back in 1988. We formed a union way back then. So I have union blood in me. My grandfather was a Teamsters. My dad was a Carpenters Union. So I figured, hey, I'm going to be voice of the people and voice of the employees, and I love my job. So with that being said, I kind of moved into this back 12 years ago, and I've watched the school district grow since for the last 12 years. But I also watched a lot of things kind of change through education per se. I mean, it's with the students, with the parents, with the curriculums, with our former governor for 4 years that really didn't put any kind of education there. It was a tough go. We're still, Governor Lujan Grisham is doing a fantastic job putting money in and getting our teachers and our educators to the raises that they have. We're now pretty high in top, I don't want to quote this, but up there, at least in the top 10, if not in the top 5, where our educators are now compensated for what they do. And as you well know, I don't know if any of you are educators, but it's a tough job. And dealing with those, and everybody found out during the pandemic, including the parents, along with the teacher. Parents are like, oh, we need to get these kids back in school. These parents couldn't even deal with it. So it was like an eye-opener to these parents of like what educators actually do every day, because they were having to do that kind of things. So, but coming off of that pandemic, it really took a toll. And one of the tolls that we need your guys' help, and our educators can need this help, is the mental health part of the things. Counseling services, social workers, SLPs, OTs, PT, the related arts area is one of the areas that we really need to focus a lot of our attention on, because these children are out there and they're I don't want to say they were a year behind, but they had to make that transition, especially the littles. The littles had to make that transition, and we're seeing a lot of the mental health things to where they don't have enough social workers, counselors, SLPs, OTs, and PTs in there to do, because before that, it was your special ed department, and you had those IEPs, you had those BIPs, the BIPs, and if you don't know what those are, I can explain later. But you have a 504s now, and 504s are going through that. And I'm going to segue into all of this, so that's why I'm kind of leading with this, because it becomes a paperwork nightmare. Our poor educators are having to teach curriculum and then do paperwork on top of paperwork on top of paperwork, and still have to teach the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and still have to teach life skills, and still have to teach how students, I don't want to say how to give better structure. There's a good word, not reprimand, but better structure. So how to keep these kids in line for better structure. And it's tough now. The defiance is from pre-K all the way to 12th grade is you guys would not believe the defiance behind that. So those things, and again, that's the mental health field. Some areas have one social worker, which probably areas need 3 of them instead of just one counselor. All these kind of things that they need to help these students succeed. Those are the areas that we really need to drive. And we had a couple of I think, bills come up previously. I don't know if there was any this year. I was pretty focused on House Bill 236 with the healthcare for a lot of it. But I do know that there was a lot of social work, mental health stuff that was talked about. So those are the areas. Now let me kind of go into the area of the structure. Our educators are getting attacked, believe it or not. And we're talking from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. And it's probably more so in the lower levels than it is the higher levels, but they're still getting attacked. We need help with that mental health because our educators are leaving, not because they don't want to be teachers, not because of the district, not because of the site. It's because of their safety. Their safety is at risk, severely at risk, because you don't know. And not only the safety with what you see going around the nation with the gun violence, we're talking about physically biting, sticking pencils in our poor educators, our assistants, EAs, IAs, arms, scissors, those kind of things. And again, what do we go back to? The mental health issues. The how do we get the proper counseling? How do we get the proper social work for those students? And our EAs are our frontline people. The teachers love our EAs, and we just got a bill passed this year to bump them to 25,000. Yay! Yeah, absolutely. Though they're very passionate. They're our frontline people. They were doing the job for pennies and getting attacked at the same time. So those are the kind of things that we're looking, that we want to push those issues, because in order to keep people in the classroom, whether it be an EA, whether it be a custodian, whether it be a maintenance worker or a teacher or an administrator for that fact, is we have to kind of get some structure back. And I'm not saying, like the old days where you whack them on the knuckles with a ruler. I'm talking more of, we need to get inside the house. We need to find out what's going on inside the house, because sometimes, folks, and I just want to be straight, sometimes the student or the son or daughter runs the household, and they allow it. So we need to get into that structure-based kind of education to where they're I guess they can actually understand what an educator is going through when they send their kids off. It's not a daycare center, because sometimes parents will just send them off and say, okay, here you go. And so and the discipline matrix has been kind of and I'll go into this point, attendance. We're the attendance issues that are happening are now falling back on our educators. Now, not only do they have to do the curriculum, do they have to do the IEPs, the BIPs, and the 504s, but now they got to track the actual attendance. They're being told that they have to track the attendance, and then they have to call the parents. I'm sorry, folks, when does this fall back on the parenting? Because our educators are being told to do checks and balances rather than just being told, go teach the curriculum, go teach first grade. And so those are the kind of things that are the major things that are going through. Now, the PED has done a lot of good things. They have changed a little bit of the rules. We want them to figure out a little bit more, listen to us, listen to you all, to say, hey, listen, here's what's going on in our community. Because if they hear what's going on in the community, because they only hear it from me or Billie or Dr. Cleveland or the administrator, the educators, but they don't hear it from the folks that are sending their kids to school. They don't. And then the disruption of some of those areas where you cannot discipline a student now because you're so afraid of disciplining a student because the parent now is going to PED, that student is disrupting a class. And if you have a 20, and I'm going to segue into this too, it's kind of falling together today. So that one individual is a constant, what I called a frequent flyer, and they're constantly disrupting the educational process, which is a law. If they're disrupting an educational process, that not only are they disrupting the educator from teaching, but they're also disrupting their student classmates in from learning. And yet we're going to allow and have to clear a classroom, sure you've had that, because of an individual student that is disrupting it, and now that's taking away from the actual learning structure of the class. So those are another part of that. So those are the things that are tough on educators. The other thing is, and I'll segue into this from what I just said, was class sizes. Class sizes, when I was in elementary, okay, at Sandoval Elementary, we had 20 kids, 18 to 20, 22 kids. Focus on those. We got class sizes now, 32, 33. What's your class size?
My biggest class is
34. What level do you teach? English 10? Yeah. Oh, high school? Forget about it. You're looking at 40 kids, and you might as well be in a college course, in a lab, in an auditorium. That's how big our class sizes are getting. Those of us that went further our education, you sat there and listened to a lecture, you're in a hall with 100, 150 of students while somebody's lecturing. It's almost that bad in the high school level. In the elementary level, we would much rather see more teachers for less class sizes, because guess what? That's more attention instead of having 30 and certain children get kind of left behind because they're a little bit slower. And because of the class sizes, that educator is trying to hit every aisle all the way down. And as he or she is trying to do that, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I go down this way, I come back up this way, I go down this way, and it's like they've got a hand over here and I still got to fill over. Class sizes are too big, folks. That's huge, not only with mental health, but our class sizes. And we've been asking the PED to set a standard on class sizes and hold it. What they love to do, and I'm not knocking the PED, but they put a minimum. Can we put a maximum number on there? Let's not put minimums anymore. Let's put maximums. Max of this. And if you don't have this, then I'm sorry, then you're going to have to hire another educator and let's shave it down. But they keep coming in and they keep, right, there's a law. All students are eligible for a free and public education. We get that. State has done a great job of dumping money into education, but we still need to hire more educators to bring down those class sizes to give those students the fair and public education the right way. And that's where we're seeing a lot of those things, not only from the discipline part of it, but also from the learning part of it. So that's tough when those class sizes get too big. Now, PE classes and those, band classes, orchestra, choirs, those are going to have big. But when you're sitting there and you're in a math class or you're in an English class and you've got 36 to 38 and they're still shoving kids in, and that's for six periods at the high school level. So you get 30 times 6, that's 180 students a day. And now, if you have a 504 and an IEP or a BIP, guess how much time those educators are doing in that class? They're working till 10:30 at night. But we get 3 months off a year during the summer. But they're not seeing that we're working and planning Monday through Sunday and working till 10 o'clock at night. So I got your back on that. I go up there and I advocate for those kind of things. So here's something that I wanted to read. Oh, let me talk about this, and then I'll read Billie's little one that she wanted me to send you all. Substitutes. There's a lack of substitutes. And that is, folks, we're pulling teachers from their prep time. Again, it all flows downhill. Because now you're pulling it from a prep time. An educator who has a prep time now cannot prep for the classes or his or her next day, because now she's being called to go cover a class because there's no subs. I'm all for that, but compensate them. Compensate them, because they'll do it, and they do it out of the goodness of the heart because they love their job. But compensate them. And I'm not saying that because, it's we want to hold our thumb down on administration or the state, PED. We're saying that because if we can't get it, compensate it. Okay? They'll do it. But then the burnout that is having people leave to go be a realtor or someone like that because they don't want any more of that stress, that's what's happening. Is that you're burning them out so much because your requirement, we already pay your level 3 $73,000 a year. Okay, well, and if you don't have a sub, you're gonna have this whole group in there staring at the wall doing nothing, and it'd be like most of us here watch The Breakfast Club. And they're gonna be hanging out in the Breakfast Club, standing on the tables, just kind of saying, okay, let's blow 45 minutes, see what we could do, start making paper. No, you're gonna need somebody in there because PED requires 1,140 instructional hours. So now where's the instructional hours? They're taking our educational assistants some places and they're making them a certified to be a sub. Okay? So how they get away with it. This is we're going to the negotiating table with the district, and we've done this for the last 5 years. Las Cruces EAs have it. Albuquerque EAs have it. I think Bernalillo's has it. Rio Rancho, we're still fighting for it. But I'm telling you guys this because we need to push the factor of pay the EAs to be a sub if they're in there longer than an hour. If they're just covering the educator because that educator now has to go to an IEP meeting and there's nobody to run the class, the EA will do it for 1 hour. But when the educator has to call in and they can't find a sub and they can't find a teacher for their prep, guess who they get? An EA, qualified because they have to get their substitutes license and they know what's going on. But now you're taking an EA out of a special ed class where they need that EA, and you're putting them in a general ed class to cover that class. Kind of see the big picture here? You're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And no pun intended on Good Friday, but that's what's happening. That's kind of what's happening. That's what's going on. So those are the kind of things that we're constantly battling in those areas. And it's not. I'm not blaming the district because we have a great relationship. Our union and Dr. Cleveland and Billie are on a newsletter together. We have a great relationship with it. We will agree to disagree at the table, but ultimately, Rio Rancho Public Schools, I can't say is top notch in the state, and I'll always advocate for that. And our employees do a great job, but dang it, don't take advantage of our employees. Don't take advantage. And I'm not saying that the district does, but at times it feels that way. So We would need your guys' help on some of those things if we do start going to the PED or do start going to the legislature for actual, let's put this in law so that we don't even have to negotiate it at the table. And the legislators will always tell us this. Representative Cates over there will tell you that they'll say, well, just negotiate it. Okay, yeah, we can negotiate it, but it doesn't mean we're always going to win it at the table. There might be other factors like class sizes that we might have to bargain to give up compensating our subs. It's one and the same. Okay, it still helps all those students. So we would like to put some of those things in law, and that's where we might need your help. And we'll let you all know in that situation. Let me read something from Billie, and I'm about done. She puts here, I'm not sure the public understands the crisis in education right now. The teachers cannot educate, which I've already told you, with all the demands. It's just not possible. Teacher retention as well as recruitment should be a priority. Now, I gave you guys a back history on kind of what she's talking about, so you guys kind of know now what she wanted me to relay to all of you. And then it basically says, rest is moot. Students need good teachers. I like to say educators. I don't like to just specifically put it on teachers, but Billie is a teacher, so she's thinking it from a teacher's mindset. Educators, we need good educators that love their jobs. It is a job, she says. In turn, students' needs can and will be addressed. Otherwise, teachers are using their energy to survive. And as you guys heard the backstory of all of it, that kind of stuff she's trying to get across. And so I kind of laid the groundwork for you, and then she kind of closed with that. So those are the kind of things that we're looking for and we need help on. Our cry for our educators are not because they're not compensated anymore. Our cries is they're just surviving now, and they want to do what they went to school to do, and that's to educate our youth. Okay? So that's a little back here. So let me tell you a couple little things. Rio Rancho has, in Sandoval County, has a new CTE program that AFT New Mexico, AFT National, and the district are all working together on. So we all know that there's students out there that don't want to go to college, but they want to trade. So we have a really, really good CTE center, and Dr. Cleveland has reached out to Billie and the union and other unions around because we're really trying to get that CTE center up and running. One of the priorities and in the CTE, I'm sorry, not priorities. We have CNM and Rio Rancho Public Schools and the union have been collaborating to see if we can have some classes that might go into some associate's degrees and things like that, so that they can also be getting college credits for being in that. Back in the old days that we were all around, we had shop class, we had automotive classes, we have sheet metal classes, we had our CEC we had beauticians, we had dental health, we had nursing things. We're bringing those back. Okay, so we want to bring those back, and we want to make sure that we have the funds to be able to do that. A lot of times when we do this partnership is the districts are funding it, and they're probably going to be, and the union, AFT National, Randy Weingarten, has came to Rio Rancho and is using the model. Like she even did one of her town halls and one of her video, and basically, I was on a call with New York and Chicago that are already got these huge CTE plans, and now it's bringing it to New Mexico, and it's bringing it to Sandoval County. It's bringing it to Sandoval County. APS is kind of starting to jump on board, but guess where it started, folks? It's starting here. Now, when I was a product of APS, when I went to APS, we had that, but they started cutting it, and they started because there wasn't enough money in the state to fund those. And that's when the threat was, we're going to cut music, we're going to cut PE, we're going to cut all those things. Well, guess what they did? They cut shop, they cut automotive, they cut those CTE programs. Well, we're bringing those back. So that'll be on your guys' radar for that. And the last thing, the students need more off-screen interaction, read more books, have more conversations, take walks, play outside, play sports, anything but screen time. But how do we accomplish that? Districts and unions can't dictate how parents raise their kids. We need help messaging what a healthy childhood looks like. So we have to message that. We all have raised our kids, but we need us, I'll call us old schoolers, to be able to say, here's how we can do that. Get them outside, get them away from the screens. I have twin boys that are graduated from Rancho High School, and I have 5 grandchildren. Okay, my son lives in Katy. They have a rule in their house, and I had the same rule. One, you don't play your little PlayStation, your Nintendo, or your Xbox until the sun goes down, and you only got an hour. So my sons now have incorporated that because they learned behavior from the way I taught it. So we need to advocate less screen time for these kids, because I'll tell you what, they struggle turning a page, but you watch these 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds swipe. They swipe. I can't figure the dang thing out, and they swipe better than I do. So those are the kind of things that we need to help advocate for. So I want to thank you guys. And again, I have my phone number. I'll leave it. If you guys have any questions, you're part of the community in those areas. If you guys need anything, please get in touch with us. Oh, I want to leave one more segue. I got to plug my healthcare. House Bill 236 for staffing. It didn't fail, I don't think. Did it fail? Well, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back into 30-day, hopefully. And I want to clear something up, because Adrian will talk a little about, she's the pro, but I went and talked to a lot of the Dems. And there were a lot of them that were on board, and then there were some of them that weren't on board that if it didn't pass. The big questions when I was lobbying up in Santa Fe was, the question to them was they thought that bill was going to set the standards. It wasn't going to set the standards of patient care versus nurses. So we weren't trying to get this bill to be passed to say, we want this bill to be passed and we're going to set a maximum, which I would love to them to do at the PED level and set a maximum on class sizes. What the bill was saying is, we want to collaborate with the hospitals, with the Department of Health, and with us to come up with a standard. But we weren't just going to set the standard. And I think that's where the confusion was on the healthcare part of it. So the person to be in really touch with that's a pro at it, because guys, let me just tell you, guys and gals, one of the things that really it affects is patient care. It's almost just like an educator. When they've got 32 to 36 students, that's going to affect the learning process. Well, when you go into the hospital and you have one nurse and you've got 10 to 15 beds, how much real health care are you receiving? And guys, gals, I don't know about you guys, but New Mexico's healthcare, it's not good. It's not, and there's something to be desired for in how we receive the healthcare. And I'm not saying this because we have bad nurses or doctors or things like that. It's just that there's not enough staff, and the staffing is tough. Just like in education, it's about staffing, and everybody says, well, you're 49th in education. What's going on? Well, staff us. You'll get your figures, you'll get the data. Staff our healthcare, you'll get better healthcare. Staff it first. And I'm not saying our poor legislators don't bust their butts down in Santa Fe, because they do, and I'm there all the time and I watch them. They are busting their butt, but we have some issues in some areas that things are being run sometimes like a business, and we have to skew that area that, hey, this is a government, this is what we're here to do, we're here to provide. So those are the kind of things. So I appreciate you guys' time. I know it took a little bit more time, but I just wanted to touch all those bases, give you guys the back history on that. Thank you for letting me come up here and talk to you all. If you guys have any questions, I'll leave a couple of cards, and you can contact me, and I'll put you, if I don't know the answer, I'll put you into the right person that does know the answer.
Thank you, Gino. Appreciate it. There's a lot to chew on that, you know. And I don't understand, because I was brought up in the Catholic school system with nuns, and I don't understand this thing about not punching and rapping knuckles or anything like that. So I don't know what that's about. That's what we used to get. Anyway, Thank you very much, Gino. I appreciate your time and all your talking. Let's just say some announcements. Our party elections are over. Our county party elections are over. We do have a new leadership, I guess. It's the same, kind of. Alex is still the chair. I am a vice chair. Tweety is still a vice chair. The SEC members have been elected and they have been contacted. And so hopefully that will it. We still need precinct and ward chairs. We need people to volunteer for those. So if you do live in a place that needs a precinct or a ward chair, please consider running for that position. Tomorrow is our second Saturday. As you've heard, this is a delightful month since we have first Friday and second Saturday back to back. That's always great. Tomorrow will be Rep. Kathleen Cates and Senator McKenna will be giving their talk tomorrow at Matucci's. And any other place you want her to come talk, she will come talk. All right. Please visit our website, sandovaldems.org. You can sign up for our newsletter there. The newsletter is where you learn everything about us. And also, it also gives you our events, what's going on with them. So with that, anything else, I will adjourn. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.